The International Criminal Court of Justice has ordered Israel to ensure desperately needed humanitarian aid is delivered to Gaza without delay. The measures were requested by South Africa as part of its ongoing case, which accuses Israel of committing genocide. This is new video into us this morning from Khan Yunis. Ambulances transported injured Palestinians to the European hospital in the city, one of the few medical complexes still operating in Gaza and under enormous strain. The latest ICJ ruling calls on Israel to allow much-needed medical supplies into the region and ensure medical care is provided to Palestinians throughout Gaza. Dominic Velitis is in our London bureau tracking the details for us, and he joins us now. So, Dom, good morning. What more can you tell us about this ruling by the ICJ?
Well, Hilary, this was a unanimous decision by the ICJ, which is the highest international court in the world. All 16 judges ruled in favour and have now ordered Israel to ensure without delay the unhindered flow of humanitarian aid and basic services into Gaza. And to ensure that happens, the court has told Israel to increase the number of land crossing points into the territory and work with the United Nations to make sure enough food, water, electricity, fuel, shelter and other essentials like medical supplies and medical care get in as soon as possible. Food is, of course, perhaps the big one, Hilary. The context here is the dire humanitarian situation unfolding now in Gaza, something the ICJ recognised in its ruling, saying that Palestinians in the territory are no longer facing only a risk of famine, but that famine is now actually setting in, with reports from the UN that more than 30 people, including 27 children, have now died of malnutrition and dehydration there. Indeed, last week, Hilary, a report by the World Food Programme and others warned that a catastrophic situation is now unfolding, that all 2.2 million people in Gaza were now facing high levels of acute food insecurity, and that famine is projected to hit the north of the territory by the end of May. Now, the ICJ's order obviously piles more pressure on the Netanyahu government. It has responded. In a statement, the country's foreign ministry said it was continuing to promote new initiatives and to expand existing ones to allow a continuous flow of aid into Gaza by land, air and sea, adding that Hamas is to blame for the situation in Gaza and for starting the war in the first place. It's worth noting, Hilary, that although the ICJ is the highest international court in the world and that orders issued by it are legally binding, it doesn't have the power to enforce them, Hilary.
And Dom, international aid agencies are once again raising the alarm over reported heavy fighting. This is in and around several hospitals in Gaza, including that Al-Shifa complex in Gaza City. What's the latest there?
Yeah, that's right. And despite the UN Security Council demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza on Monday, fighting in the territory continues. Indeed, Israeli forces and Palestinian fighters are reportedly engaged in close combat around the Al-Shifa hospital, where the armed wings of Hamas and Islamic Jihad said they recently attacked Israeli soldiers and tanks with rockets and mortar fire. Israel, meanwhile, says it's killed around 200 gunmen, as it describes them, since it launched its operation around the hospital complex in Gaza City more than a week ago. So fighting continuing there. Meanwhile, Israeli forces continue to blockade Al-Amal and Nasser hospitals in Khan Yunis, while several other areas in the south of Gaza City have, according to residents there, come under Israeli fire. Reports too, Hilary, of an airstrike in a house in Rafah, where you'll know that more than 1 million people have been taking shelter, in which 8 people were killed, Hilary.
Dom, thank you for this. Dominic Velitis for us this morning.